Why Princeton Needs Me. A story of legacy, resistance, and belonging. Noah Bennett sat alone in the dimming classroom. The title, Why Princeton Needs Me, printed boldly across the top of his essay. Outside these walls, his mother scrubbed hospital floors just to keep the lights on. Inside this quiet space, Noah's imagination reached beyond the zip code he was born into. Mrs. Denton, his English teacher, spotted the essay as she walked past his desk. Her laughter, sharp and sudden, sliced through the silence. Princeton, she repeated with a sneer, just loud enough for the 3 remaining students in the room to hear. Noah, you might want to aim a little more. Realistically. Across the room, Brandon Avery and Callum Ford, sons of legacy families, dressed in expensive shoes and secondhand smugness, grinned and leaned in to listen. Maybe Princeton needs more janitors, Brandon called out. You got your application in for that. Callum chuckled. Better yet, maybe Princeton wants someone who can mop their lecture halls in perfect cursive. Noah didn't flinch. He calmly began packing up his papers, each motion quiet, measured, dignified. Without meeting anyone's eyes, he said, Thank you for the feedback, Mrs. Denton, before walking out the door with his backpack slung over one shoulder and his shoulders square against the world. Outside, the hallway was empty, and only then did he let his posture relax. For a brief second, 5 miles away at Wellington General, Rosa Bennett pushed her janitor's cart down the long corridor, 8 hours into her shift. Her back ached, but her expression remained serene. Her phone vibrated with a message. Rough day. She didn't need more than those 2 words. She knew. Later, on her break, Rosa slipped into the lounge and opened her wallet. Inside was a worn photograph of a young man with warm eyes and a Princeton sweatshirt, Benjamin Bennett, Noah's father, dead before his son was old enough to remember him. But his essence lived on in Noah's quiet drive, in his relentless hope. Noah's walk home took him through cracked sidewalks, flickering streetlights, and the uneasy silence of neighborhoods that had learned not to expect better. He stopped by the local library, where the old librarian, Mrs. Leland, greeted him. Cutting it close today, she said. We're closing soon. Just need to print something, he replied. At home, in their modest apartment, he made a sandwich, ignored the leaky faucet, and opened his worn laptop. He stared at the essay titled Why Princeton Needs Me, but now it felt tainted, marred by mockery. Hours later, Mr. Isaac, the school janitor, pushed his mop across the classroom floor. A crumpled paper near Noah's desk caught his attention. He smoothed it out. The title caught his eye, but it was the content that stopped him. He read it once, then again. Passion, honesty, insight, not just potential, purpose. The next day, Mrs. Denton stood before her advanced English class. New assignment, she said, chalk scratching the board. Write your own Princeton application essay. Her eyes flicked toward Noah. Let's be realistic about our dreams. After class, Noah slipped away, but someone followed. Maya Quinn, a quiet student with thoughtful eyes and worn sneakers, approached him. That was messed up, she said. You gonna write the essay anyway? He nodded. Not for her. For me. That night, Rosa pawned her mother's bracelet, one of the last valuable things she owned, and bought Noah a used laptop. You'll need this for the essays, she said simply, refusing to explain more. Noah spent the next week writing. Early mornings, late nights, at the kitchen table, in the library. He poured his soul into every sentence. But when he printed the final draft at school, he forgot a second copy in the tray. Brandon saw it, picked it up. Read it. This is actually good, Callum admitted, surprised. Too good, Brandon said. Time to knock him down a peg. That lunch, they planted pieces of the essay into a shared school drive labeled Noah's Sources, then sent an anonymous tip. The next day, Noah was called into the principal's office. Mr. Langford, stern and tired, slid 2 documents across the desk, Noah's essay and a published article. Similarities were highlighted. Accusation hung in the air. I didn't copy anything, Noah said. Mrs. Denton, seated beside the principal, raised an eyebrow. Convenient. A knock interrupted them. Mr. Isaac stepped in, mop bucket and all. Sorry to interrupt, but I've seen that boy work on that essay for weeks, late nights, early mornings. I've read it. He wrote it. I'll swear to it. Langford blinked. We'll review the timestamps, he muttered. An hour later, they did. The planted files were dated the day before. The plagiarism case quietly fell apart. Mrs. Denton looked away. Noah was placed on academic probation anyway. That evening, Rosa knocked on Mrs. Denton's door. I'm Noah's mother, she said. My son wrote every word of that essay. And you try to kill his chance before it started. He'll succeed, but not because of you. In spite of you. A week later, Maya approached Noah again. I saw them, she whispered. Brandon and Callum. I was in a library alcove. They took your essay. Swapped it out. Will you say that to the principal? He asked, hopeful. She shook her head. I can't. But you're not crazy. It was enough. Enough to keep going. Mr. Isaac began meeting Noah in the library before school. He brought books. Rhetoric. Logic. Persuasion. The education no one else had time to give. And he was more than a janitor. He was a retired Princeton professor, hidden in plain sight. One morning, he revealed it all, with a faded faculty ID to prove it. Why help me? Noah asked. Because your father once helped me, mister. Isaac said. Before he died. He was a brilliant researcher. Never got to enroll. But Princeton knew his name. A citywide essay competition was announced. Prize, scholarship. Finalists reviewed by Ivy League panels, including Princeton. Noah applied. Brandon tried again to sabotage him. Enlisted a tech student to rig the printer to blank out his essay on stage. But when the day came and Noah stood on that stage holding blank pages, he didn't falter. He spoke from memory, then from the heart. Legacy, he said, is not inherited. It's created. He told the story of his father, of his mother, of janitors and shadows and library alcoves, of systems not designed for people like him, and how he belonged anyway. The judges were silent, then captivated. He placed top 5. Princeton took notice. 2 weeks later, the principal announced a visitor. Dr. Malcolm Freeman, Dean of Admissions at Princeton. Rumors flew, but Mrs. Denton, confident, assumed he was there for Brandon. Send Brandon to my office, Principal Langford told her. She smiled. Actually, he added, he's here to meet Noah Bennett. The smile cracked and fell. In the office, Dr. Freeman extended his hand. I knew your father, he said. Benjamin's mind was extraordinary. He was part of a pilot research program we ran. We've been trying to find his family. His work changed medical ethics policy nationwide. Rosa was called to the office. She entered cautiously, then froze. Malcolm, she whispered. Illo, Rosa. They'd known each other. Long ago. Both researchers. Both young. Both brilliant. Until life happened. Until Rosa chose family. And Benjamin died. Noah's application to Princeton was fast-tracked. Not as a favor, but because he deserved it. Mr. Isaac submitted a sealed letter of recommendation. Rosa's old articles from Princeton's ethics project were unearthed. Her name restored in records. Mrs. Denton, now under district investigation for suppressing recommendations, stepped down quietly. Her final conversation with Noah was brief. You were better than I wanted to believe, she admitted. And I let my past cloud your future. I am sorry. The day Noah received his Princeton acceptance, he stood beside Mr. Isaac, who handed him a gift. His father's old Princeton sweatshirt, the same one in the photo Rosa kept in her wallet. Noah held it against his chest. Thank you for everything. You earned it, Isaac replied. Now go prove us right. In September, Noah stepped onto Princeton's campus, not with arrogance, but with quiet determination. In his pocket was his father's watch. In his heart, every sacrifice that had made this moment possible. Noah Bennett belonged. And the gates of the institution that once overlooked his father now opened wide for his son.